What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 63. Here with my guy, Paxten. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning to you. At least it's morning over here. I'm happy to be here. Hard to believe again, it's 63. But we know we're only, like a week into this transfer window, and it just continues to heat up. And yet I think it has more heating up to do. So if you're good, we should probably get right to it.
Yes, and just a quick message for everyone. Please do not forget to like this video and follow us on Spotify or YouTube whenever you are listening, and go bold because it's a huge help for the FC Wonderkid community. And yes, Paxten, a lot of transfers 1 week in, and we have to start with, in my opinion, one of the most underrated transfer moves that has to be talked more, and he won't be because, in my opinion, this player is overhated, and that is Raheem Sterling, okay? Raheem Sterling has decided to go to Chelsea, and that is the first signing of the Todd Boehly era. And I gotta say, for a Thomas Tuchel coach, great signing. Great signing. He fits the mold, and he will go bold for Chelsea. Started at Liverpool, bold at City, and now at Chelsea. Will Sterling get the Champions League? That might happen, and that's a bold scenario. 3 Champions League pending, maybe? Let's see.
You never know. And we have to you have to remember, Sterling he's 27. I mean, he's in his prime. He was kind of frozen out of the 11 under Pep. And it's got the here we go treatment from Romano. So but the thing that kind of surprises me is the price tag, right? The price tag is pretty good when all is said and done. And I think it's 50 million euros plus some potential add-ons that could bring it a whole lot higher. But this is for somebody that under Pep had close to 300 games, had 120 assists, 120 goals. Let me try this again. 292 games for Pep, 120 goals, 85 assists, 4 league titles, 4 league cups, and an FA Cup. And Raheem Sterling, we know, should do very, very well in Thomas Tuchel's plans. But really, what I'm most impressed by is the price tag. I mean, the price tag here makes a whole lot of sense. It's 2027. 2027 too.
It's a fair deal, I'd say, and I agree with you. It's 50 million. But he had 1 year left in his contract. And City, this just shows, man. I gotta mention it fast. Gabriel Jesus and Sterling had 1 year left in their contract. And they both leave for 100 million. Again, another fact that shows Man City do elite management. But we'll talk more City, more forwards. Keeping on the Chelsea now. For Todd Boehly, he must be excited though. First signing, an English superstar, an English star. Is it the right move, you reckon, Paxten?
I've wrestled with this. I've wrestled with this since it got the here we go treatment, and I honestly do believe that it is. I believe that it's a very, very good signing for continued Premier League success. Somebody that knows how to score goals, obviously can deal with being in and out of the 11 when it came for this last season. So Raheem Sterling is nothing but a consummate professional, nothing but a guy that will find his chances, get his chances, and will put them away. And I honestly believe that this is actually a step forward for the other guys like a Timo Werner. Like a Kai Havertz. I believe that this is a net positive for the squad as a whole, even if it might freeze out my guy Christian. Okay? Even if it might freeze him out. But I am a little surprised that this is where they start. But he's London born and raised, right?
Yes.
London born and raised, right outside of London. Actually, right near where the new Wembley went up. And Sterling, I mean, he knows what it takes to win in this league. And it's just amazing because he's still 27. We're not buying, Chelsea's not buying a 32-year-old, 33-year-old for this amount. So you're getting a guy that's going to give you a really good next 5 years. So I see it only as a net positive, even though my initial reaction was one of I just was like, I don't know how to process this. But when I thought about it more, it seemed pretty smart. What weirds me out, though, and I don't mean to move on from this, is that not only I mean, City is literally getting rid of all their depth for the most part, is what it looks like. You've got Gabriel Jesus gone. You've got Raheem Sterling gone. It sounds like Chelsea wants to also sign former Chelsea product
He will.
Nathan Ake,
Yes.
right? And that's pretty close to here we go treatment as well. So it is a little surprising to me that Todd Boehly like looks at it and says, "Yeah, let's throw 90 million bucks or 90 million euros over City's way and take all the players that they don't want and build, provide our depth here." But there is no doubt that Chelsea needs what? Center backs.
Exactly.
So it kind of on one level makes sense. But I did have to, before we move on from Sterling, I do have to throw something out there because you might need to fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure I did my due diligence. I believe it's true that Raheem Sterling has never scored for Manchester City at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. And then you look a little bit further, and he's also never scored, I believe, at Old Trafford in the Premier League for Manchester City. So, he's not exactly a rival killer when it comes down to it, but he does have their number at home. So if he can make Stamford Bridge his home and he can get on, I think Raheem Sterling could be 15, 20 goals for Chelsea this coming season, and it'll wash that Lukaku taste out of their mouth pretty quickly. But net positive here.
I agree with you. For me, Sterling is a positive for Chelsea to go. And touching fast, ending with Sterling, it's Sterling for Man City was the most reliable player in the past few years, okay? And that's why he's the player with most appearances ever under Pep Guardiola. He's ahead of anyone with the number 292. And that, for me, is clearly the reason why it's tough for Pep Guardiola for him to go, but he will accept it. And I feel he was targeted. Raheem Sterling was targeted by the media, and obviously it was racism, in my opinion. And a player like that didn't deserve that at the time. And I love it that he's silencing the critics by going now to London and proving himself as a star before a World Cup too. Because Sterling wants to be the man wherever he is. And we know England. If England wants it to come it's coming home. They need a Sterling in form. So, yeah, and I wanted to ask you, too, with the Frankie de Jong, you saw that news, right, with Chelsea. Do you believe it's real? Like, Frankie de Jong to Chelsea? Or do you believe it's for Man United to put that pressure and they have to go bold and get him?
Yeah. I think that's I don't know, journalism, pyrotechnics, whatever you want to call it. I really don't. It's tough. I mean, it's why we don't have millions and millions and millions of followers hanging on our every word, right? About whether or not De Jong is changing course or other clubs are coming in for FDJ. So I honestly believe. If Romero is saying it, there's probably a grain of truth to it, but I do believe it's posturing, and nothing more.
Okay.
But De Jong, I mean, that whole Barcelona De Jong cart before the horse, getting into bidding wars before they actually even have money, it actually makes me angry when it comes down to it. And if I'm De Jong, I almost feel like a pawn.
Well,
in this situation, I feel like just doesn't make much sense.
He's gonna go. I think he will go to preseason, I think, tomorrow, and he will present himself because there's bargaining, there's negotiations right now, but it is hard for him, just being in the middle. And his decision, well, he wants to say, but Barca need the money, and that needs to happen. But just touching fast with City, because we mentioned them big time with Sterling, and I agree the Nathan Ake deal to Chelsea would make a ton of sense, okay? Because for Tuchel, he needs that left center back. And let's be honest, Rudiger before Tuchel would commit some mistakes, okay? And Tuchel improved Rudiger a lot. And I do believe Nathan Ake is slept at Man City.
Fair enough.
And Tuchel sees the potential, and something can happen at Chelsea with Nathan Ake. And it's good too, being a Chelsea academy, having that redemption. It's awesome. And I have to mention too, Gabriel Jesus, okay? Gabriel Jesus, Nathan Ake, Bernard Silva maybe, and Sterling. City's gonna get more than 200 million maybe. Just with all these players sold, okay? Not maybe. With Bernard Silva, Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, and who's the last one I always forget? Hake. They're going to get more than 200 million, okay? And that shows, again, the management. And Guardiola has to replace them. And a player like Cole Palmer from the academy will step up, okay? And that itself will be a signing, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, in that sense, that's a lot of pressure put on Palmer's shoulders. It's also a lot of pressure put on Grealish and Foden's soldiers. Shoulders as well, and that is going to be really, really interesting to me because it's almost like they're creating a roster shortage, like artificially or like on purpose. They're creating this roster shortage to start this Premier League season, unless they've got other signings in mind, or which I really do. I'd love to think that you're correct in Cole Palmer being involved, or more involved, like actually getting game time. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And I want to be wrong, and I really hope you're right about this. But when it comes down to it, before we move on from Chelsea, we can then move on to City if you want. But the Nathan Ake thing, I agree. He's slept on. But this is a kid that played 19 starts last year. That's it. You know, he didn't play much for City. And previous to that, he was one of the more well-known members of the Chelsea loan army. Meaning he had been there from 2011 to 2013, and then from 2013 until he was sold to Bournemouth in 2017, he played for how many separate teams? And he only played for Chelsea amidst those loan spells a whopping 17 times. Okay? So I don't understand how 19 starts for Manchester City and 1.5, 2 good seasons for Bournemouth make him a $45-50 million prospect, or 45-50 million euro prospect, not prospect, but piece to the puzzle for Chelsea at this time. So that's my negative to this. That's my negative. You are right though in saying that the positive is Antonio Rudiger changed dramatically under Thomas Tuchel. Okay, exactly. He made him a much more complete player. He harnessed his aggression. He harnessed a lot of the best parts of Rudiger that I think you are right. If you bring in Ake, you could do that. But I also think you could probably spend 30 million elsewhere. I don't know where, so don't ask me. Elsewhere, buy a center back and do the exact same thing, not for Ake. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I think it's a Tuchel move with the Ake, so let's wait and see. I respect that thought. So put down below, people, who should Chelsea go and get? And yes, go bold with the De Ligt maybe, or a Ake. Let's see. Both Dutch, right? So let's go.
De Ligt's at preseason. De Ligt showed up. He's at Juve preseason, even amidst all the hubbub.
But we'll get to it. But I don't think De Ligt will stay. Okay, just early on in this video, I'm saying I don't think he'll stay at Juve. And I'm gonna say this. You mentioned this fast. Foden. I believe this summer we'll get a contract extension at Man City, okay? The talk is of a 6-year deal and earning 200,000 a week in pounds, okay? This is the type of deal that is, you're world class and you have to show up because you're getting the money of a world class player. So I have got those expectations for Foden. Behind that, let's be honest, he's got Haaland and Julian Alvarez with backup. So De Bruyne, Foden, Mahrez that is slept a lot, and Haaland in front. That is going to be unbelievable. I'm hyped for it if Haaland doesn't get injured, because that is the biggest worry. The biggest concern is the injury. But Alvarez can step up. I believe in him. Scoring 6 goals in Libertadores, he can score 2 in Premier League.
But that's what I'm. I get it. But that's what I'm. And they still lost. Right.
Well, no, but not that game, not that one.
I know not.
Aliens in the mud in that. But I agree. We'll get to the River. Yeah, sure.
But it's like Haaland. Everybody always talks about the 9-goal games or the 3-goal games or the 4-goal games. Yet Dortmund. Hey, Dortmund still haven't. They didn't win the Bundesliga with him. Whoa. So it will be interesting. He needs to stay healthy. And that's what I'm saying right now. You mentioned Cole Palmer as stepping up. You mentioned a lot of pressure on Phil Foden, Jack Grealish's shoulders moving forward, especially if Silva goes as well. But it comes down to the fact that they're creating this issue where right now, where literally one injury changes a whole lot of things for Pep in Manchester City. So they need a little more depth coming in. And if it comes from the academy, I know you and I are excited about that. But it doesn't seem like Pep is going to rely on the academy the way. So I think there are more signings coming for City. And it'll be interesting to see who they go for.
We've mentioned in the past one, and I do believe it's going to be a done deal next week, okay? And that is Marco Cucurella, okay, from Brighton.
Right.
I believe that is going to be a done deal. And let's be honest, City getting Calvin Phillips, getting Cucurella, Haaland at the price they got, Alvarez at the price they got, it's just such smart deals, man, that I don't see other Premier League clubs doing. Even David Moyes said, we bidded more than City for Calvin Phillips, but shows the intention. Player wants, he sees the project is successful, I'll be a better player, and he goes with it. And so another player with the Hake move that I saw Fabrizio mentioning fast, and you said that Chelsea needed a 30 million center back. And I feel like City, they know who to get, and they know with who to replace Nathan Hake, a player that maybe Chelsea should be targeting first, and that is Joško Gvardiol, that we both believe he's going to have a bold World Cup for Croatia, okay, in December. And I literally, if they sell Hake and get Gvardiol, again, elite business by Man City, if that happens, because Gvardiol, one of the best passing center backs out there, physically strong, anticipates the game, and he at Leipzig goes bold. I put him ahead of Upamecano last season. It didn't look good for Upamecano, and Gvardiol was the elite, with Schlotterbeck too, center back that everybody was impressed. So yeah, I said the name right.
Yeah, you did. You did say it right. You've been practicing, haven't you?
Yeah, I did.
No. I think Gvardiol would be great. I don't think he's going to leave this season, but it's worth a shot. And if Manchester City comes calling from Leipzig, I can't imagine that he wouldn't at least speak up and say, "Hey, I'd like to take this deal." He's got the versatility. I know if you're signing Cucurella, you've got the left dealt with.
Yes.
But Cucurella can play on the wing. He can play wing back. He can play straight fullback. And on top of that, Gvardiol can play either side fullback as well as center back. So you've got quite a few pieces there that could be very, very interesting.
Laporta and Ruben Dias, though, it would be like Laporta would be like, I gotta step up, and he did last season. So I do expect that. So it's just more options, more options. But in the end, one last thing about Raheem Sterling, and I know this is going all the way back. You hit the nail on the head with it being a World Cup year. Part of me wanted Raheem Sterling to leave the Premier League. I would have loved to have seen him in La Liga, in Serie A. I don't know if that was ever even on the cards. I know maybe once you and I talked about potentially Raheem Sterling going to like PSG, right? Yes.
When all was said and done. And that was probably 6-8 months ago when we were just probly throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks, right? Theorizing. There you go. You put it a whole lot more professionally. But yeah, World Cup year. You don't rock the boat. If Chelsea's coming, if it's your hometown, you do that. And I think it's going to be interesting to see Sterling in a Chelsea shirt. But I think we want to stay in the Premier League as we kind of always do to start.
Yes.
What do you think of Conte doing things over there? Now he's helping. He's helping Barca out, man. Bringing in Lenglet of all people, Lenglet, whatever you want to call him. Bringing him in the door on loan. Potential to buy? No, maybe not. I don't even think there's potential to buy.
I think it should be, though, because I'll be honest. I'm not gonna say Lenglet here is like Cuti Romero, because that would be false. But before Barca, I had not highest hopes, but he would be a good player, okay? A player involved, a player that would help the Barca future, but it didn't end up just like Umtiti. Lenglet, both center backs, and the mud in the Barca legacy, okay? Nothing they can do. And I hope Piqué sorts things out because his legacy at Barca is unbelievable. And I don't want to see that being tarnished because Ronald Araújo now is the hope at defense. And anything that you can surround around that player, please do get Conde, okay? Quick shout out. But yes, yes, you asked me Conte. Sorry, I was thinking with that. And I like how Tottenham is doing business this summer. They're keeping things real. Things real. Conte is putting it out and saying to Fabrizio, if Fabrizio says the exact names of the players, he's saying to the world, you can go get Reguilon, Lo Celso, Winks, and Ndombele. Keeping it real, Conte, okay? That he doesn't need these players. And that, for me, before preseason, that's the way you have to do business. And he's sorting out the team that, let's be honest, I am a very big fan of Conte with Tottenham. And again, I do believe they will get silverware. And seeing that Richarlison Cuti Romero relationship arousing, just them shaking hands, man, I loved it. And there's a special environment growing at Tottenham. And doing preseason in South Korea, they are the celebrities of the country right now, okay, next to Son.
Sure are.
So it's unbelievable. They're going to be hyped. And I believe Tottenham will be bold at the beginning of the season with momentum, and they will be very hard to beat, Tottenham, okay? So they're fixing things. Like Winks, for me, is a player that he doesn't do 4 passes. I remember speaking to you and going with that. And they need progressive passers, and I feel like they're sorting that out. Like Perisic on the wing creates more than Winks, in my opinion, and that is no debate. So,
Well, that'll be interesting. I know you're probably a little surprised, though, Reguilon is on the chopping block for them because you were pretty impressed with him throughout most of the season last season. I know you thought he was relatively underrated. So, I mean, he's gonna be a great signing for whoever picks him up. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a depth piece for somebody like a Real Madrid.
Right? That can happen.
Come back in, you know, and I don't. Hey, other people's trash are other people's treasures, right? So, but what I really wanted to bring in is, I mean, Jaffa Tanganga. Remember when under Mourinho, everyone was like, "We love him. He's raw. He could do this. He's versatile. He's hard worker." Well, he's going to join Bournemouth on loan, most likely, and I think his tenure at Spurs is done, and that's. You know, I get that because is Longley better than Tanganga? Yes, absolutely. Is does Tanganga actually have a long-term future at Spurs? Probably not.
Debatable.
But you know what really bothers me as a microcosm of kind of what's going on is it feels like there's literally no Spurs Academy stamp at all any longer under Antonio Conte. And true. I have a feeling that is going to persist. I don't think we're going to see anyone but maybe Dane Scarlett come through and get meaningful minutes long term for Spurs. That bums me out, although I kind of understand it if Spurs are going for silverware. And let's be honest, one of the only reasons Spurs were able to land Richarlison from Everton was Champions League football. Champions League football. He was 100% about that in his early day interviews after signing for Spurs. And that just goes to show you, I mean, Richarlison got emotional when he just started thinking about, walking out there when the Champions League anthem was playing. And that in and of itself should tell you that Champions League football means everything when it comes to the Premier League as well. If you're dealing in the top 6, top 7, and just ask anybody trying to sign somebody for Manchester United right now, and you'll see exactly what we mean by that. So I also like what Conte's doing. I think it stinks that it's at the expense of giving any type of a shot to Spurs youngsters, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe somebody will surprise us this year.
Well, you mentioned fast someone in Manchester, and we can lead up to United fast. That there's not a lot of new news, but Malacia is a done deal. Eriksen is reportedly a done deal too at United. So I'm getting a feel that every signing they do, they know Ten Hag. And not a lot of players that have no relationship to Ten Hag want to join, literally.
I
So
know.
it's going to be a very tough summer, in my opinion, for Man United to sign anyone, as it seems. And yeah, I'm curious to see who they get on the deadline. Like at the end of everything, I have no idea how it's going to end up right now, today.
Yeah.
Okay. So that just shows the madness. Like Broby,
yeah, do you feel?
I saw Broby news.
I know.
Like what?
I know.
Like that is not the like if Van Persie left Arsenal to go to United, that's the difference of 10 years. Getting a Van Persie and now getting a Broby, like a lot changed, man. A lot changed.
I think it's almost like what I want to tell Barcelona fans. It's like maybe no. It's almost like what I want to tell Barcelona fans in the sense that maybe you take a year.
No.
And you work with what you got, because I have a feeling like Erik ten Hag might get a month into this transfer window and he might panic. He might panic and he might buy some players that he's going to regret buying, which will then turn into this vicious circle that we've seen happen with Manchester United. It's a little bit of a worrisome take the same worrisome take that I have with Laporta and Barcelona, because it feels like they're trying to remain tippy top when they have a bunch of phenomenal pieces for the future that could literally set you up for a 5, 7, 10-year tenure near the top of La Liga again.
They will be.
Unless, of course, you go out there and you mortgage your future, which is exactly what Barcelona's doing to remain uber relevant.
I believe.
Okay? Not just in La Liga, but on the Champions League stage. So I didn't mean to go off on the tangent with La Liga, but there are minor parallels between transfer business being done with United and Barcelona. The difference at Barcelona is that they don't have the money right now. They have to find the money to get it done. Yeah, you keep saying that, but they still gotta pay De Jong $18 million before he can even leave.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
Or they don't. And
well,
then it gets weird.
Exactly. Then it gets weird. And I'm gonna say too, there's a name that's being thrown out there that I get that feeling of a panic, and that's Dybala to United. I don't know. I don't know where. I believe that's just a player available, a spot's available. Connect. I don't see the intention of Ten Hag, but if it happens, it can surprise. But I believe that Erik ten Hag will use a lot Martial at the starts, okay? And let's see what he can do with him. Because Martial showed potential, but actually performing at a high level consistently at Man United, it didn't happen. So, but I do think the managers at the time, Oli didn't know what to do with a Martial, with a Sancho. Right. So, if he didn't even know with Sancho, how would he use Martial? So it's
I know.
Yeah,
and Martial didn't exactly light the pitch on fire at Sevilla either when given the chance. So, Manchester United's in a pretty interesting situation, as we've talked about, and I just really think Ten Hag should use what he's got and wait a couple months. And I think, hey, you've already hit in metaphorical terms or for Manchester United fans, they feel like they've already hit the bottom in this sense, right? So endure what will be a rocky few months and figure out what pieces you absolutely need, I guess. And this runs counter to what I was saying previously. Hey, you've known you have holes for 6 months, 8 months. Why haven't you filled the holes? Well, now you've got Ten Hag in place. He's having trouble bringing in players that he absolutely wants, or that don't have a relationship with him. Exactly. So it's gonna be weird. And they have money. They got money.
And they got a huge fan base. So, and every player that would sign with United, their careers have changed, man. Okay, it's a huge responsibility in the past, at least. So let's wait and see what's going to happen with United. So put down below, people, who do you think Man United is going to sign? We want to see those people in the chat, and we will answer every comment that goes bold in the comment section. But now, mentioning in the Premier League, I want to speak about this team because this team is not having trouble convincing players to come, and that is Leeds United, okay? And yes, you mentioned Leeds USA. And I gotta say, Tyler Adams, man, Brendan Aaronson, no chill in getting US players and the right players that fit the system at Leeds, man. And my favorite, Rasmus Christensen. And now, Luis Sinisterra, man. These, all the players that I mentioned, all bargain deals for the potential that they have. So, oh my days, man, Jesse Marsch. I don't know if he plays FM, but it looks like it. It looks like it.
It feels like it. It feels like it. But let's be honest here, right? Rafinha hasn't left yet. So the money's not in the coffers.
They don't need it.
They don't need it, right? They've already got the Calvin Phillips money. And just I want to put this to rest. Tyler Adams is not a 1-to-1 replacement for Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Tyler Adams, Mark Roca, you could put them two together, and maybe you've got Calvin Phillips' replacement. Rasmus Christensen obviously has history with Marsch. Tyler Adams has history not just back to Red Bull Leipzig and Marsch acting as an assistant coach. He has history all the way back to MLS and Tyler Adams at 16, 17 years old with Red Bull New York. So it's not surprising that Tyler Adams for $20 million, 20 million euros, I'm going to say it right now, it's going to wind up being an absolute steal because he's a shuttler, he's a tough tackler, he gets the best done when he's under Marsch, and I really do believe people will wind up loving Tyler Adams as long as he remains healthy. Brendan Aaronson, too, is the exact same way. They played together at Salzburg, and he's intimately aware of him. Not played together. He coached. Marsch coached Aaronson at Salzburg, and they're intimately aware of each other when he was at Red Bull New York and Brendan Aaronson was at the Philadelphia Union. So these aren't just like, hey, we need to have Americans. These are, we need to have Americans that fit within the mold of exactly how Jesse Marsch plays. And I believe you're going to find that they're wild successes here. And if not, it's going to put back people buying American players in the Premier League for a very long time, which I hope is not the case.
I love that you talk about Tyler Adams just like I talk about Palhinha to Fulham, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those two, man, you believe in Adams, I believe in Palhinha. So respecting our countries, man, I believe that both players too will go bold, man. So Adams is slept, man. He doesn't stop. He's an engine, as you said in the past.
He had a tough last year. He was pretty injured last year, and he couldn't find his way back into the 11 for Leipzig. So I do believe that some people might look at this as a step back in terms of Champions League ball down to Leeds United to Premier League. You're in the Premier League, but you're also in a club that has yet to necessarily, just came out of a narrow escape from relegation. So the other thing to bring up here, because Adams had a little bit of an injury prone last year, Luis Sinisterra is only a year and a half removed from an ACL injury. Okay. He went ridiculously bold, right? Last season, 23 goals, but like 11 of those goals were in the Europa Conference League. Okay. So he killed the Europa Conference League. But I think most people would have liked to see that against 5 goals against Ajax, 6 goals against Feyenoord. He wasn't doing that. So it will be really interesting to see how Sinisterra translates to the Premier League, how he holds up physically. And I only hope for the best because when he is on his game, he is absolutely electric. So Leeds United, using all the Calvin Phillips money essentially already and bringing in depth. And I don't think they're done, man. I don't think they're done.
I agree with you. I don't know who they're going for, but I don't believe they're done too. And a striker, right? I have a feeling that a striker has to be cooking because Patrick Bamford, he had a lot of injuries. So let's wait and see.
Broha on loan. Broha on loan. Make it happen.
Nah, I think if he doesn't play for Chelsea, I feel like he'll be sold to West Ham because West Ham seem like they're going crazy for him, and it's understandable. And just so ending with the Premier League in my end is like we have to mention Arsenal, and I know Gabriel Jesus scored like 2 goals in minutes, space of minutes, and that was unbelievable. Yes, great start, Arsenal fans, but for me, it's like let's wait and see with Gabriel Jesus, and I want to highlight the fact that Arteta played in a 3-5-2, okay? And Eddie Nketiah played next to Gabriel Jesus, okay, in one half.
Interesting.
So that can be something we can see in the Premier League, but at least he's trying it out where he has to in preseason. So something can happen. And I just want to put it out there for the FC Wonderkid community that knows we go bold and try to always say the truth here. And I saw Kante news to Arsenal. That is embarrassing, okay? That someone would believe that Kante wouldn't go to Champions League football at the level that he is right now. If Kante would go to Arsenal, it would be with an insane contract that we would all go crazy with our eyeballs, okay? So I really don't believe that. So focus on a player like Tielemans to go. That can happen. And Paquetá.
Yeah.
I believe in Paquetá to Arsenal. That is a news that I would look up to because Edu likes Paquetá, and he is a player that we know that Rafinha snubbed Arsenal. Paquetá, I don't think he would because Lyon are trying to ship him out, and he's got quality. So I like.
He does, but what happens to that Arsenal midfield when that
he can be the 8 or the winger. He has that versatility, and for Brazil, I mentioned this, and he's one half guy. He's a player that can act as a rotational player, and he will be happy in a team that has Gabriel Magalhães, Gabriel Martinelli, and and Gabriel Jesus. So if Paquetá goes there, it's gonna be a Brazilian core clearly there. And I might be forgetting Marquinhos that just signed too. Like what?
Right.
Another player. But
looking forward to seeing what he offers.
But there's a player that's being in the news too for Arsenal here in Portugal. Just the final thing. And I said in the past, Nuno Tavares wouldn't be a good deal for Arsenal. But Grimaldo, that I see for 7 million, that is the chat now. Not Barca, but Arsenal to get Grimaldo for 7 million. And he's a very good left back attacking wise. But defending, he's got some doubts too, but attacking wise, he'll be one of the best in the Prem. For 7 million?
I think most Arsenal fans are just praying for a full season of injury-free Kieran Tierney, which unfortunately hasn't happened. They do, but I don't know if they were outbid, which probably is most realistic. But Arsenal did have their eyes at one point on Aaron Hickey, the Scottish left back that was doing really well with Serie A. But as you probably saw, Brentford decided to go in and throw 20 million euros at the kid. And he is now a Brentford B when it comes down to it, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know if they got into a head-to-head, bidding war on Aaron Hickey. But yeah, 20 million when it comes down to it, probably Arsenal, if they can get Grimaldo for 8, right?
Yeah.
Instead of spending 20 plus that it would have taken to secure Aaron Hickey to beat out Brentford, does make the most sense from an Arsenal perspective. But I do love seeing Aaron Hickey. If you don't know him, if you're listening to us and you don't know him well, he had one hell of a breakout season for Bologna last season. He was one of the best young left backs. I'd say him and Destiny Udogie, who plays for Udinese, were two of the best youth left backs in all of Serie A last season. So Aaron Hickey is coming back to the UK, which will be pretty interesting, but not in an Arsenal shirt, in a Brentford shirt. But I don't know, man. You really think the Rafinha thing is dead and gone, though, with Arsenal? You think it's done?
Done. And I believe Arsenal. No. I believe Paquetá can happen, but Rafinha, no. It's the Champions League football. For me, it was like the deadline.
Sure.
And it was, I think Arsenal were lucky in the fact that Arteta knows Gabriel Jesus, and he managed, there must have been a talk between the two of what was going to happen in the future. And reportedly, there was a ton of clubs, 4 clubs, interested in Gabriel Jesus, and he picked Arsenal with Arteta. So I could have seen Real being the interested one, just to be a rotational player. Legit. So, I don't believe he'd start, but just being a rotational player, that can be the case. So, put down below, people, anything we forgot about the Premier League, okay? Transfers, something that happened, and we will try to answer every comment down below. And yes, we mentioned briefly a lot of times Barca So let's get to it with the Barca talk. That I know we have different thoughts about this. It's true. But Rafinha, in my opinion, next week is gonna be a done deal to Barca. Okay, Rafinha, and that will be the beginning of people saying, okay, Barca has the money again. Things are gonna happen, and by consequence, Frankie De Jong will leave too. Because, yeah, it will have to happen too. So, I believe next week those two deals are going to go through. So, just gotta
10% of their... Yeah, but if they sell 10% of their media rights for liquidity, and they keep diluting their brand, and now you've got Spotify Camp Now, you've got this, you've got that. I mean, if they keep doing that, they could bring money in right now. They could mortgage the future, bring it in right now, and then they lose that direct... injection into the coffers they get from Barcelona's brand being Barcelona's brand. I just wish that people would slow their roll when it comes to Barcelona, except a year or two of mediocrity, right? Of mediocrity, not really mediocrity because they finished in second place. They're heading to Champions League football. But ultimately, let Gavi mature, let Pedri mature, let Ansu Fati remain healthy and mature, let Nico mature, and then add the pieces slowly. Don't mortgage your future to have to bring in Rafinha or have to bring in... They got to go after another center back, do they not?
I agree. And don't you think, like, for Barca, it looks bad to lose to Frankfurt in the Europa League? It doesn't look bad for Barca to play in the Europa League? Like, I believe that... I agree with you that those 1-2 years should have happened, but that should have been before Xavi. And right now, they have to accept that Pedri, he's 19, man, and they have a player that every single club in the world, if they had him, they would go. Imagine Guardiola with Pedri and Gavi. Like, they have to maintain these players and convince them that Barca is a successful project. And if they let go of Frankie, that I fully believe it will happen, and a player like Bernard Silva that fits much more the mold of Barca comes in, like, that is the right move, in my opinion, long term. Come on, 27, he'll stay there 5 years, and that is the right move, in my opinion, to do. I like it. And Busquets will stay another year, confirmed. Like, that was another doubt I had. Busquets will stay another year, but he might leave for free the other year. So, like, he might teach a lot of things to Kessié, man. But Kessié and Christensen are the two transfers that have been confirmed now with Barca. And, yeah, it's a start. I like Kessié's move, though. I like...
Martin Braithwaite to MLS. I'm calling it here.
He's an entrepreneur. The man is an entrepreneur. I fully believe LA clubs, like, have a real chance, like, to get him.
Yeah,
or Miami.
Of course.
So
he'd be a hell of a get for pretty much any Major League Soccer squad right now. But yeah, I'm with you. I think we're gonna have a come on. We all know Barca's brand, right? I'm not stupid to it. I'm not shy to it. Like, we all know Barcelona's brand, but it feels like we're trying so hard to retain this allure that might never be replicated again, right? You can't hold on to the Iniesta, Xavi, Messi days, right? You can't hold on to the, Neymar, Messi, Suarez days. Those are gone. Those are done and dusted.
But do you believe Xavi can get there? Do you believe Xavi can get there to the level of Guardiola?
What I don't think Xavi's doing, here's what I don't think Xavi's doing. I don't think Xavi is saying, I need it now.
I
need it now, or I walk. And if Xavi's doing that, then he's not seeing the forest through the trees.
What?
He's not setting up the right pieces for the club to be structurally sound, financially sound, so that they can develop and bring in the right players long term, instead of scrounging around, looking in the seat cushions, grabbing a quarter here, a quarter there, and trying to buy who you need to buy. You can get better players for cheap than Rafinha for 60 million euros.
I don't know. For 60 million. For 60 million.
Absolutely.
Who better than Rafinha?
Let me think on it, but definitely. I think our, people that are more in
I don't think they can get better deal for 60 million. I don't think they can.
Rafinha did not dominate the Premier League. I love Rafinha as a player. He did not dominate the Premier League. He's a very interesting player.
Would you get Anthony ahead of Rafinha?
No, Anthony, I don't even think I wouldn't. Anthony for 80 million? No.
60,
Anthony for 60 million? Absolutely not. No,
But
I wouldn't.
I'm trying to find the player that you're saying that can that
I'm
can
saying
match
they don't.
Rafinha, but I don't think there is for
I'm saying
60
they
million in the
They
market.
don't need one.
Phew.
They don't need one.
Mm.
They don't
Uh,
need one. And you ready for this? I bet you Ousmane Dembele.
mm-hmm.
He signs on for another 2 years.
But if he does, they still need someone. They still need someone because
But they don't have the money.
Mm.
They don't have the money. They need to accept that fact, or we're going to be going through this with them 3 years down the road. 5 years down the road.
Here are my thoughts here. Okay, I respect your thoughts, but I believe this summer a player like Bernardo Silva, a player like I see here Rafinha, Lewandowski, I have my doubts if Chelsea go bolder than Barca because Barca and Bayern are clashing non-stop. But if Lewandowski signs for Barca, all those pieces that you mentioned will improve, and they need a successful sporting project to value up these players like Pedri, Gavi, Ronaldo Araújo, all of them with Xavi. That, yes, Breton, it has a 1-2 year, it's 3 years. If Xavi doesn't work out these 3 years, his image as a Barca coach won't work and he will leave afterwards. So that's why I really believe he's got that urgency to perform right now. Okay, and I respect your thoughts though about leveraging the future. But Barca, if they get it right, man, Laporta didn't cause the problem of Barca. It was Bartomeu, and I think. Sorry. Yeah.
I think he's causing the problem now. I think there will be a problem in the future.
So let's wait. So I believe with the Xavi appointment and what's gonna come in the future, he will fix Barca, and I believe the Barca future is gonna be good with Xavi and Laporta. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Hey,
yes.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I would love to be proven wrong. What I want them to do is focus on extending the contracts of Gavi. It sounds like it's close. Get the contract Gavi done.
Yes.
And Pedri is there. Gavi's there. Extend the contracts you need to extend, so that these guys are ready, and then take some time. Take some time. Anyway,
and you're mentioning contract extensions, and we can talk here on the other side in Madrid that something happened about that. And Vinicius Junior, the Champions League goal scorer in the final. Okay, Ballon d'Or potential that it's fair to say right now. Okay, at the age that he is. Gets that renewal until 2027, more than deserved, with a 1 billion, not a shocker, release clause. And I don't see anyone. PSG, don't touch that. No, they will never touch that. Never say never, but I don't believe that will ever happen.
No.
So that is, yes, that happened. That is a deal that I feel like you'll like, right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I think obviously you're extending Vinicius literally as his value. It would have been nice to extend Vinicius last year when he wasn't at his best, but then you couldn't have necessarily guaranteed, right, that he would have had the same output this year if he wasn't fighting for a new contract of sorts.
I like that theory. True.
You get a little contract. You see it a lot. You see it a lot in all professional sports. Anyway. Real Madrid, one of the smartest things they did, though, is they finally started to clear, and I hate calling some of these players dead wood, but they are starting to clear some of those that were mucking up the wage bill long term. None more important than getting rid of Luka Jović, right? Fresh start. He's moving to Fiorentina, and to where fellow Serb Dusan Vlahovic was lights out last season before moving to Juventus. So I hope this means that Jović can put behind him that ill-fated $63 million move to Real Madrid, where he scored a whopping, I believe it was 3 goals in all 51 appearances. He played a whopping 1,500 minutes for Real Madrid in total. And now he's heading somewhere where there's hopefully the building blocks for him to succeed heading into this World Cup year.
And Asensio too, right? There's a lot of news too about Asensio. That's a player that those ACL injuries, man, we really believed he could have been a Galactico, a high-level Galactico. And it killed. Yeah, it was a killer. But let's wait and see. But Serie A, not leaving. I like how you went to Serie A. Let's stay a bit in Serie A because Juve seem to want the Scudetto, okay, with the moves that they're doing with Di Maria, okay, Paul Pogba too. Like they are going bold in this market, and this is the team that they're shaping up, okay? Dusan Vlahovic ahead with Chiesa, Di Maria, Pogba, McKennie. Like, I like that. And Miretti with with the long passes. Like, I watch out with Miretti. Watch out with Miretti at Juve. He's gonna be given more responsibility. I like him.
I 100% agree with you. I hope this is Miretti's big breakout season because he deserves it. But I'm going to throw one out there because right now their largest worry is their defensive depth. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. True. And I will tell you right now, I don't think Matthijs de Ligt is leaving. I don't think he's leaving.
I think he is.
I know you do. I know, which is why I felt to state on the record that de Ligt, I think, is staying. But ultimately, if you get rid of de Ligt, who do you have at center back? You have a 35-year-old Bonucci still, I believe, right? You've got a young buck like Radu Dragozan, who's a Romanian young player. They got rid of Demiral, I believe, right? He's off to Atalanta. I could be wrong about that. I think that's right.
Yes, it is.
I think you sent out a 20-year-old Coney de Winter off on loan to somewhere else in Serie A. So Juve, if they don't hold on to de Ligt, they already need a center back. and they're going to have to find another on top of that.
That's true.
While their wage bill explodes, because now you've got Chiesa, who's coming off ACL injury. You've got the ones you mentioned, a 34-year-old Di Maria. You've got Pogba. You've got Weston McKennie. That he's fine. You still got Rabiot. You haven't gotten rid of him that I know of. And you've got Vlahovic, who you spent 70 million euros on last season. So I'm a little worried for the defensive core. And as we know in Calcio, if you do not have a solid defensive core in Serie A, you will get destroyed.
True.
So
and
Szczesny.
I feel like
Szczesny.
True. Like, they missed out with Donnarumma. Like, they missed out. Like, I really felt like Juve were setting up for Donnarumma to be their keeper long term. And yeah, he went to PSG. But with de Ligt, I want to say why. It's the intention of the player. It's no more. And let's be honest, he sees a possibility to land in this team, and I believe they're top contenders, okay? It's between Chelsea, City, and Bayern Munich to land Matthijs de Ligt. And in my opinion, the place that I would like to see him would be Bayern Munich, because he's a leader already, okay? He's got the competences of being a leader. He is a hard-working player. He's an instant impact right at the start when he arrives at Bayern. And let's be honest, last season, Upamecano didn't look good, okay? And I do believe, I wouldn't be surprised if a deal that Upamecano goes the other way, okay, to Juve, and de Ligt comes to Bayern with money, okay? That, of course, much better player. And de Ligt with Bayern, that would be bold. And that would be the type of move that he would be happy, and he would create an enormous legacy for the national team, for the Dutch national team, and at Bayern. That we all know that can happen. And I like it.
I'm with you. It sounds like Juve is I don't know, if it's Scudetto or bust, they'll try and keep the league there. If it's not, then you're putting all your cards on a 34-year-old Cuadrado to continue to age like fine wine, like he has. You're hoping, Locatelli and Rovella.
I like Locatelli,
run this midfield. I love him too, but it's a big pressure to be put on their shoulders. But that that defense. I mean, that's a real concern. I mean, they might want to call up and ask Maldini if he's got any extra center backs he can send over from AC Milan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little ridiculous. They actually should be the ones, if the league moves and they can't get Upamecano in a swap, they should be the ones going after Gvardiol with every bit they absolutely can with that money. But they're another club that you're kind of looking at. They just spent $70 million. So they spent $70 million on him, on Vlahovic. Where's the money come? Are they also going to be searching through their seat cushions
And even
trying to
Pogba.
find a couple extra euros?
And Pogba ain't
Yeah.
cheap, man. If you're bringing him, like,
No.
that's a huge caliber player. And yeah, I agree that they got comfortable with a lot of years of Chiellini, and now they gotta fix it. And yeah, it's a trouble. So put down below, people, what does Juve need to do? What does Allegri need? I think Allegri needs a ton, okay, for him to succeed at Juve. That I fully expect that won't work out for Juve long term. But you mentioned fast Maldini and businesses, and we love to mention always a bit of Milan. And I'm going to say here, I see the Charles de Ketelaere deal for 20 million between Leeds and AC Milan, and I just hope he picks Milan, man, because he will be such a crucial player for AC Milan, and he can become world class. If you watch Charles de Ketelaere, you know that. And Belgium national team level caliber superstar in the future that they need it. After Hazard, De Bruyne, he can be the guy that dictates the attack. Charles de Ketelaere.
Yeah, and I 100% believe he will go to Milan. But the American fanboy in me would love to see a Brendan Aaronson, de Ketelaere kind of mix up there. The size of the Ketelaere, the power of the Ketelaere, mixed with the might skill of Brendan Aaronson, the endless engine of Brendan Aaronson would just be a delight to watch for Leeds United. But I shouldn't have said 100%. The Ketelaere, I think, very clearly wants to go to Milan. The sporting project there is so much more intriguing as it stands there, and you've got Champions League football. Wait, do they have Champions?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. They just won the Scudetto. Of course they do. So that is going to be the big one to watch.
And they will be better. They will be better. Hopefully not in a group with Liverpool. No, I really do believe. And I feel like the core loves the club. And that's the thing too. Like, I feel like it's so attractive for a player that seeing another like Tomori say he wants to get the contract extension done at AC Milan and shows that they treat the players right, and it's an historic club with a huge fan base, man. Milan, if Milan wins the Champions League, this is a brand that is worldwide, man. It's successful. It changes everything. The era, like, they will start signing the big boy players afterwards. Milan literally had Ronaldinho in the past, Beckham in the past, Cafu, like Pirlo, like the Seedorf, like the levels of players that were in Milan were the best. So they have that potential, and I do believe Maldini wants that. He wants it to get to that stage. So like Inter and Milan both doing elite business, man. But I'm gonna lean on Milan. Maybe it's I love Milan. I swear.
Yeah, I just hope they don't get ahead of themselves, and it certainly doesn't seem. I mean, they got two massive gifts last year, and that was the development of Kalulu and just Tomori turning into probably one of the best center backs, if not the best center back. Maybe not the best center back. One of the best center backs in Serie A. I mean, those two types of development, like jumps, leaps, they don't happen every year. So they need to look at that for what it was. Those were gifts. And there might even be a regression this year to where we find out that maybe Tomori is not as good as he was last season, which sometimes happens. Sometimes happens. But so they need to bring in another center back, or they need to bring in maybe a little more in terms of internal competition. And I think Maldini's in the process of doing that with them. And they also have this ridiculous youth academy. But is this the year that we actually see a little bit from Daniele Maldini? I mean, could he actually make an appearance in this 11 in some sort? But I don't know. That all comes down to whether or not Rafael Leao, what his future looks like. There's still a lot of question marks. We're still so early.
And Renato Sanches too. Like, is he going to PSG? Is he going to AC Milan? I would prefer AC Milan because Rafa Leão, Renato Sanches, elite duo that would be, and he would play next to Tonali, Benacer. He would be given a lot more responsibility at AC Milan. So for me, I would prefer Milan deal, but let's wait and see. Anything can happen.
I just want Sanchez healthy. Just go somewhere that they'll take care of you, and you'll I don't know.
And
But
we could say
yeah.
the same about the player I'm going to mention here. And I said PSG fast, and I just want this player healthy and working hard this summer. That I believe he said it on a live, okay? Neymar, okay, said, I worked a ton this summer, and I am confident for the season ahead. And if this man is stating in public, man, that he is excited for the next season, it's because he knows he's about to go bold next season. And I see Christopher Galtier, that was announced as the PSG coach. Great decision that in the past you said you loved that move, and that was you were right. And Galtier has said that Neymar will play with me and watch out. So that's the beginning of something special. I believe that Galtier has a plan with him. And yeah, there's a lot of possibilities can happen, man.
And there is possibilities, but when you have one singular goal for the club, it gets dangerous, does it not? I mean, the one singular goal when the French league is not as strong, and, like the Premier League, where you actually have to work to win it every year. League One, that's not a goal. That's secondary. That's tertiary. The primary goal is UEFA Champions League. And even if you bring in a guy like Galtier, right? Well, it didn't matter if it was Zidane, if it was Galtier. It doesn't matter who you bring in. That one singular goal is a danger in some respects, because when you go all or nothing on something and you don't reach it, this potential vicious circle type of thing with PSG, with all this financial backing, could continue. So it just kind of comes down to it. What happens if PSG has Neymar going 25 goals, 25 assists this year, Messi 20 goals, 35 assists this year, and Mbappe just going insane, 50 goals, but they lose by 1 goal to Bayern in the semifinals of the UEFA Champions League? What do you do next?
Disappointing.
Like, what do you do next?
That
right?
would be disappointing if that
happens. There's that. I know, and there's a really tough thing that comes with having one singular goal to your whole season, and that's always going to be the problem with PSG, no matter who you put in there.
But I do think that can be fixed though with who comes in, and if a player like Milan Skriniar comes in, not for 10 million. Vitinha for me is a player that wants to succeed at PSG. So I agree. I agree where you're coming from. That to have a healthy, successful, winning environment in the locker room, you should have that ambition to win the league. That for them it's easy, but I do see that a lot of players there want to win trophies and want to create an enormous legacy, just like Vitinha. So if that's the type of moves they go for, I believe we can be seeing something different next season.
But they also want to collect an outsized wage to do so. So it's just, come on, man. Are you ready for this 11 to line up against Clermont?
Well, and it's the striker. And it's the striker. That for me is the biggest doubt with PSG.
Scamacca.
And I saw that. Scamacca wouldn't be bad. And there's another option too that Newcastle didn't get him. Like, I want to say, sorry FC Wonderkid community. Like, everybody, we said that Ugo Ekitike went to Newcastle. It was like a done deal. I think the medicals or the player refused. So that didn't go through for 40 million. So that's a player that's available to in Liga. That Mohamed Ali Cho went to Sociedad, you mentioned. So I believe that or Ugo Ekitike or Scamacca will go to PSG with Luis Campos.
If Mohamed Ali Cho went to Real Sociedad,
Isaac.
I don't know. Maybe Alexander Isaac should come on back to League One.
Yeah, he's not talked enough now. Like, nobody talks about. Well,
not at all. Not at all, actually. So, but I don't want to only talk about PSG in League One because I think a lot of these League One clubs. First off, I think League One is reeling from the fact that Bordeaux, a longtime League One participant, is no longer in League One. And on top of that, you have Saint-Étienne, which I believe was one of the longest tenured League One clubs, got relegated, right? They're gone. Okay, I think, right? Yeah. So there are a lot of these League One
relegated.
Clubs. And so a lot of these League One clubs are like not exactly like throwing transfer money out early in this. I think they're waiting to see things happen. And there's one club in particular that has, since their relegation scare a couple years ago. And 5 years after their Mbappe-inspired, Bernardo Silva-inspired League One upset win, right? AS Monaco is one of the bigger players in League One that could potentially put together a club, maybe to take a run at PSG if they falter in League One in any way, shape, or form. They've got 80 million for Tchouaméni that they have not put to work yet. They sold Strahinja Pavlovic for 8. They've got about 100 million in total. Okay. Pietro Pellegrini, remember him? He was supposed to be the next superstar. He's gone for 5 million back to Serie A. So they've got this massive surplus. They had about a 10 million euro surplus last season as well. And they've slowly worked their way back up. Instead of being in relegation, they are now with a transfer surplus, ready potentially to spend some of it with some pieces available out there. Who they buy, I have no clue. But if you want to look for any potential competition in Serie A beyond Marseille, it's going to be AS Monaco this coming season, and who they wind up buying and transfer.
Good shout out. And I want to shout out 2 Wonderkids in Liga. One of them is Matthias Thiel, that I already see interest from a ton of European giants, which it should happen after how he played in international youth tournaments for France. This player is a baller, and there is a lack of forwards in the market. So naturally, the players are going to clubs are trying to get in on the cheap. And Matthias Thiel, people, watch out next season at Stade Rennes. He can go bold, okay, with the stat sheets. And another player, I was surprised to see him pick Liga, but Karamoko Dembele just joined Stade Brest, okay? 4-year contract in Liga. And let's wait and see on him, because he was a lot of hype at Celtic, but now it's time to shine with professional football in Liga. And I'm confident, man. He's got elite dribbling at the time, at least he showed. So let's see it now in Liga, that dribbling, that fast tempo. And yeah, I remember those highlights, man. It was special. So let's wait and see.
I do too. I was always bummed that he wasn't able to put it together at Celtic, but the fact that Brest is a great place to go. It'll be a very, very interesting place to see him develop. But if you're gonna talk about other players there, you might remember the name Lois Openda, who played for Club Brugge for a little while, or was it Standard Liège? Either way, he got frozen out of one of those 11s. He was sent on loan to Vitesse last season, and he just was phenomenal. He is signed as a replacement at Lens for Calamuendo, who heads back to PSG. So Openda, I mean, there's a lot of... We all know that if you're looking for the next best striker, the next best attacking talent, you're looking at the Eredivisie, you're looking at League One if you want a little bit of value for your money.
Or Ligue
and or Ligue 1, you're right. I really, honestly, should be... Those 3 should be said, yes. I think Openda is going to do wonders for Lens this coming season, but I love League One. I just wish it wasn't so top heavy.
And there's another wonder kid I got to shout out to, Iker Bravo, man, okay? Iker Bravo, Leverkusen people, watch out, okay? Florian Wirtz might leave in the future, but they got Iker Bravo already scoring hat-tricks, I believe, right? So
yeah, they do. 50 minutes.
Too. Like, wait.
Absolutely. I believe he joined Leverkusen on a free. But Leverkusen will have some room, I think, to let Iker Bravo grab a bunch of minutes this season. They'll also probably start to bring Zidane Sertemir, another one of their, is Danish, I believe, a great, phenomenal talent that'll work his way in. And I'm forgetting his name. He's a Swedish player. I think his last name is Kanga. And he played phenomenally at one of the youth tournaments, the U17 Euros, I believe, this past summer, or May, I guess. He's another guy that you're definitely going to want to watch out for. So Leverkusen is still doing bits in their youth academy, but they've got, come on, the big man, it's going to be the Czech boys of Schick and Hlozek that I'm going to be watching, and whether or not they can hold on to Moussa Diaby any longer, because that transfer chatter is definitely catching up to them. I don't know. I mean, you think Moussa Diaby stays this summer?
With all the players we see coming in, and this Iker Bravo showing signs that he's a big-time player, I believe that they got options, and yeah, a move for Diaby. I think that's gonna happen, and Newcastle showed interest. And if Newcastle's showing interest, early stages, a lot more clubs are, because yeah, Newcastle will go for the players that are top talent and wanted, and just offer more money, like we saw with Sven Botman. So yeah, that was the case. So is there any transfers you want to mention here, Breton, at the end?
Well, there's just two that are outside of all this purview, but because you mentioned Iker Bravo moving from Barcelona to Leverkusen and potentially breaking through the season, I'm calling it right now. Even though Club Brugge brought in Kyle Larin, they have Tejan Buchanan, they still have they have a bunch of talents. You got to watch Ferran.
Yes.
He is, and not Ferran Torres. This is Ferran. Say his name. Jutglà.
So, yeah.
Jutglà. He is shaping up to be one of their best signings of the summer. I know it's preseason. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
He will be.
But he looks like he's stocky. He can run for days. He'll put a chance away. He'll get a bunch of chances in the Belgian league. I think Club Brugge is going to win the league again, and I think Ferran might be well up there in the Golden Boot race, and I think he's going to wind up being sold off for a massive transfer profit for Club Brugge once again. And the only other person I want to bring up here is somebody. How has this not been done? We're going to go to Major League Soccer for 1 second. Somebody needs to come in. West Ham, I know you were interested. Leeds might be interested. Other Premier League teams, City Football Group, buy them, loan them out, okay? Taty Castellanos, okay? Valentin Castellanos, who plays for NYCFC, who just won MLS Cup for NYCFC, already has 12 goals this season in a new season and 15 appearances for NYCFC. Okay? This kid has 39 goals. He has 8 assists in his last season and a half in just 58 starts.
Jeez.
He's got 5 goals in his last 3 games. Somebody take a chance on him. I believe NYCFC is balking because they haven't gotten the 20 million or 18 million they expect. This kid in the Premier League, that is going to go value. Okay? He wants a move. They're going to move him. Somebody just needs to meet the asking price. And I believe West Ham, you could do worse. If you can't get Broha, get Castellanos, because I don't think that you will be disappointed. Little bias there because I want to see him do well.
It's like it's that sort of move that like West Ham needs the guarantee of like 5 goals, 10 Premier League goals, and
I know.
Can he get that? You reckon? Like, because Antonio needs rotation.
If Jack Harrison can become one of the better value wingers in the Premier League, after playing for NYCFC,
that's not
after
true.
playing for NYCFC, if he can become one of the better value wingers in the league,
not the value wingers.
Value wingers, meaning he's not world class, but did he put double digits in last year? Close to double digits? Pretty damn close, I think. Did he supply a lot of assists? Look at his stat line. Okay? If you have Jared Bowen working with Taty Castellanos, it absolutely can work. Absolutely can work.
I like that.
Otherwise, what I think is going to happen though, West Ham is going to overspend on a striker that's not going to work. They're going to make a Sebastian Haller mistake. They're going to make I know Haller's not a mistake for other clubs, but they're going to make another mistake up top by overspending. I think you bring in Castellanos, you get it done, and 18 to 20 million is a drop in the bucket for West Ham. So.
Okay, Vlasic too. It's a player that's quality, but for West Ham too, I like it. Okay, good shout out. So put down below, people, who should West Ham get for the striker role? And I gotta say too, Suarez isn't going to River Plate. Okay, we were saying that could have happened too, but he's not going because Libertadores didn't happen. Okay, River Plate have been eliminated by Vélez Sarsfield in the Libertadores. That Sarsfield didn't play better than River. They just played defensively, and they got that goal that made the difference. And for River Plate, it was quite not damaging, but it was a tough punch that they got because they sold Enzo Fernandes for 10 million to Benfica. Okay, with additional add-ons. But they could have sold him for 20 million on the spot, okay? And they thought they would keep Enzo until the end of Libertadores, and that's why it was only 10 million. So Benfica getting elite business with the Wonderkids in South America. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I just have to shout out that one, man. Enzo Fernandes. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch him.
I'm more excited for Enzo Fernandez's future than I am for Julian Alvarez's future. I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying he has the talent to be absolutely world class. And I want to see him on the plane. I want to see him getting minutes in the World Cup. So I hope that he kicks on at Benfica, gets right into things. And while it stinks, that River, will not be in the Libertadores.
This is how I'd compare. Like, Alvarez goes to City, but all the fans are buying the Haaland jersey with the number 9 at the back. Enzo goes to Benfica, and there's people buying the Enzo jersey at the back because that's the Haaland of Benfica this summer. So
I'll buy one.
So, like Alvarez, if Alvarez had gone to Benfica, but I'm not going to say that because I believe he will work out at City, but that's the type. He's going to be given a ton of responsibility at Benfica. And with Schmidt, Paco Schmidt, let's wait and see if Schmidt can make something happen too. So
let's see.
I had to shout out. And David Carmo went to Porto for 20 million. That in the Portuguese league was shocking too. A center back, Portuguese center back at Braga. Braga is always tough to bargain, but 20 million is acceptable because if it wasn't Porto buying David Carmo for 20 million, it would be another club. And I see a ton of commentators here in Portugal disrespecting Carmo, and that shouldn't happen, okay? Left-footed center back, tall, and this is a player that was in talks with United last summer. Fact! I know this is a fact, okay? I know this is a fact. So this is the level, and Roma wanted him with Mourinho. They proper wanted him. So it's a really good signing for Porto that gives guarantees at the center back with Pep next season. That I think is going to be his last year too. And João Vitor went to Benfica. Want to shout that
Pep
out.
Pep going on 50. What is he? How old is he?
39. He's going to be 40. Man, we're going to have an Elite World Cup, man, with 37-year-old Ronaldo, 39-year-old Pep.
The geriatric world. No, just kidding. Pep obviously has the heart of a 20-year-old, right? That guy's a flipping lion.
And he's one of the fastest players on the pitch, man, at 39. That's the madness with Pep. Like, just like Ronaldo, he works a ton physically too, and that is slept with Pep. That is slept. He plays at a high level at Porto. And Otamendi plays at a high level at Benfica too. So, like, those two players, I like them. Vertonghen, it's another story. But and Belgium is going to be hoping Vertonghen has one more World Cup in him, as we talked about. But sure hope. Last transfer shout that I got here is going to kind of be. I got to make up for lost time here because you know my U.S. under 20 guys. They did phenomenally well in the CONCACAF Championship. But let's talk first about Red Bull Salzburg. We talked about Monaco before as a net seller, right? Red Bull Salzburg is basically always a net seller. Why? Because they win their league all the time, and yet they give and foster really phenomenal youth talent that somehow still does well in the Champions League. I mean, go figure. Right? True. It's an amazing for the Red Bull, litany of clubs that they have under their brand. This one is very much so a cash cow. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase before. Yep.
But yeah, Red Bull Salzburg has done phenomenally well by bringing in Strahinja Pavlovic, the big center back, raw center back from Monaco for only 8 million euros. They'll probably sell him off for 30 to 35 in a couple years. Bank it, okay? Bank it. But most importantly, they're going to be bringing in one guy has already been brought in. The second guy will come in probably in the next 6 months. The first guy is one of the best young talents coming out of Africa right now. Okay, he played for ASEC Mimosas. His name is Karim Konate, and he's going straight to Liefering. He's going to start there, and he will work his way up. You can bank on that as well. 3.5 million euros. They'll probably sell him off, much like they did Daka, much like they did
Adeyemi.
Moepu, Adeyemi. Yeah, they will. This guy will be sold on for 20 million in the future after a year or two climbing the ladder at Salzburg. But that's not what I'm here for,
Mm.
okay? Because they have a transfer surplus that they can't really spend except on young guys. Because what are you going to do? Bring a $30 million player into the Austrian Bundesliga that
Well,
you've
no.
won like 50 years in a row? No. So who are they going to go for? My guess is that they will spend upwards of 7+ on Paxten Aaronson
What?
of the
like
Philadelphia
that.
Union.
I like that. I like
And
that.
here's why I bring up Paxten Aaronson. He just landed on the radar of pretty much every other club in Europe. Okay, here's why. He just won the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball at the U20 CONCACAF Championship, which the U.S. won, and they booked their ticket to the Olympics for the first time since 2008, and they also booked their ticket to the U20 World Cup next year, where hopefully he will ball out. Okay, so Paxten Aaronson had 7 goals in the tournament. He was pretty damn dominant on the ball. He comes back. He plays a great game at the Union for the Union, in which they beat DC United 7-0 in a club record win and a Major League Soccer record win, 7-0. Okay, United was horrendous, so it wasn't all the Union being great. Anyway, Paxten Aaronson very much. I think Red Bull Salzburg probably just moved up their timetable to sign him, because when you have the Golden Ball, you have the Golden Boot of the U20 CONCACAF Championship over some of the best players in a Mexican shirt, Costa Rican shirt, Canadian shirt. Ultimately, I think they have to get it done.
I like that. And he's got flair. He's got flair. I've seen the tape on him. Like, I don't know him like you, but I've seen that he's got that touch, man, and fast thinking too. And if he plays in the MLS, I saw some disrespectful comments in his video, like that. Shout out to his video on TikTok, that was dope. Like with the lights, it was really funny. And people were saying, "Oh, you're gonna play." Shout out to one day going to the draft. What? Paxten Aaronson ain't going to no MLS draft, man. He's going straight to Europe, just like his brother. So, like, those comments, the American, like that is so disrespectful for the talent level that Paxten Aaronson has. And I'm Portuguese, man, and I'm saying this. So it's like, there's no bias here.
Here's what is valid. He currently is not playing enough for the Union. It's that simple, right? So the Union actually just recently sold off one of their top strikers. So I think you're going to see Paxten Aaronson, you're going to see Quinn Sullivan, you're going to see these other guys that are wanted by European teams. Quinn Sullivan, Jack McGlynn, Nathan Harriel. A lot of these players will get their chances moving forward. But Paxten Aaronson, I think, is the first one that will go. And it's not necessarily about staying at the Union and being, one of the best young players in MLS. It's more so about taking that next step in development. And I think going to a place like Salzburg will be phenomenal for him, just as it was for Brendan. Now, they're not the exact player. They're very similar, but they're not the exact player. So I just wanted to bring that up because I forgot to mention these guys. These guys dominated the CONCACAF Championship. There's a whole lot of other names that are going to land on European clubs' radars. So watch out. But I forgot to mention this 2 weeks ago, so I wanted to make sure I just snuck that in there.
I love it. Love it. And if he's gonna get that move, it's to a club too. And like if he knows his brother succeeded there, so it's like more than likely to happen. And different positions, right? Both. So one a forward, another a midfielder type beat, right?
Yeah, well, Paxten can play on the wing. He's actually a whole lot more attacking than Brendan is. I think he's not quite as double-sided, but he's just as much a pest as Brendan is when it comes to endless engine type. I can just see this. I can see Paxten Aaronson delivering Roko Simic at Red Bull Salzburg a whole lot of goals. Absolutely. I can see it happening.
And the duo that I hope plays together, just like Roko said, man, that if they do, a lot of goals will come for Red Bull Salzburg. And if you're here until now listening to the FC Wonderkid podcast, do not forget to like this video and go bold in the comment section. Tell us, what did we miss? What should have been mentioned here in episode 63? And do not forget to subscribe to FC Wonderkid on YouTube. And it's, trust me, people, a huge help for you to follow us on Spotify too, people. Thank you for listening to episode 63. And thank you for going bold this week again. Thank you, people.